That's their stated goal, is to consolidate things, drive you into bankruptcy, into government control, into servitude, into dependency. And they're getting ready to stage terror attacks and more provocateur actions. And the Black Caucus running around inside the Tea Parties trying to start fights unsuccessfully. I mean, they're trying on every front right now. The good news is the alternative media in the aggregate is now more powerful than the mainstream media and the disinfo arms like Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, George Soros, and others. And so they're failing miserably. And they've got COINTELPRO on the web trying to all get us infighting, and the feds have been caught running all the major white supremacist groups, and Hal Turner's and high-level national security FBI agents, super secret. That's now in federal and state court, all admitted. And they're very angry at this show, especially because I'm exposing their little treats, their little favorite dirty games of the Southern Poverty Law Center, the FBI, the ADL, and others. And I will continue to call for unity against the private central banks. I will continue to speak out against the New World Order. I will continue to refuse to engage in racial politics that you try to invoke. And so you will continue to say that I am calling for racial politics and racial division, and that I'm calling for violence. And then all that happens is people who have tuned in know that it's the opposite, and new listeners that tune in find out you're a pack of liars. So continue your lying. You couldn't be doing a better job destroying yourselves from your arrogant, hubris-filled perches, energized with bravado and false aplomb and chutzpah and arrogance. I mean, what other words are there to describe it? Just continue, accelerate it, more. Just spew your COINTELPRO lies from every direction against us. It is sending us the biggest audience ever. Lie and say I work for Israel. Lie and say I'm a Nazi. Lie and say I'm a Scientologist. Lie and say I'm a communist. Lie and say I work for Al-Qaeda. Lie and say I'm a Satanist. Lie and say I'm a drug dealer. Say it all. It is utterly and totally ridiculous and cartoonish, and every analyst I talk to and respect, and of course myself as well, I agree with them. You are destroying yourselves. It is desperate. It is clownish. It is buffoonery to say if you don't want government health care, you hate black people. Or to say the government budget's too big, oh, you hate black people. Or to say you want to control our borders and cut crime, you hate Hispanics. It is asinine, and almost everyone sees through it, and that's why your approval ratings and your trust ratings for media and government and all of it are plunging in free fall right now. And in major polls, conservatively, more than half the public know that most terrorism is government staged. And people know you're getting ready to stage more terror attacks. They understand that, and our people are everywhere watching. And you may get a little gas mileage out of it for a month or two, but you're not going to get 3, 4, or 5 years of gas mileage out of stage terror like you've done in the past. The awakening and the people getting smart curve, the people recognizing scam curve, people's palate, their taste buds have become more sophisticated, and their smell factor, their olfactory nerve has become a lot more attuned for the smell test, and they smell the rotten stench of fear and wickedness and degeneracy from the New World Order. And we are going to rout you out, by God. As Andrew Jackson said, we are going to rout you out. And all of the enemies of the Republic are now revealing themselves on every front. Left-wing, right-wing, libertarian, so-called conservative. All of you, because the system is desperate. They're engaged in their world government takeover right now, and they're hitting a lot of resistance, and the people are beginning to realize the banks are openly criminal, the mega banks are openly robbing everyone, and the globalists are beginning to feel the momentum massively shift against them, and so they are like chickens with their heads cut off, running in all directions, spraying their lifeblood out, and it is quite a spectacle to behold, and to see all the enemies of the Republic revealing themselves right now, to see the sheep from the goats being divided, the wheat from the chaff, the gold from the pot metal, to see it all dividing right now, and to see the battle accelerating and being joined, and to seeing all the great allies of liberty that are coming out into the open, to see the battle lines drawn. It is a beautiful thing. We'll get into the global government tax takeover, what's happening with Goldman Sachs, Earth Day, one-child policies, all of it straight ahead. While everyone's worried about Larry King's eighth wife or whatever it is cheating on him with a baseball coach, or the latest with the Anna Nicole Smith lawsuits, or what's happening with American Idol, a new level of world government, really the crowning capstone, is being placed right now with a global cartel of private banks signing a worldwide constitution between the G20 to levy VAT taxes, financial VAT taxes, manufacturing VAT taxes, energy VAT taxes, and simultaneously every Western nation is passing or has passed laws that they admit mesh into the international agreement. And much of the money, but more importantly, all of the regulatory power is given to the private central banks. Just like in 1996, they gave the World Trade Organization more power than our Congress over our trade. This is happening right now, and almost no one is talking about it. I was searching around this morning and found some banking associations in Texas that were saying this will allow the big mega banks to come in and take over our local banks that are healthy. We don't invest in derivatives. This is unfair trade practices. And in a calm, business-like way. In fact, I IM'd Watson those articles, but I don't think I IM'd them to you. Will you ask him to send me those Texas articles by banking associations? Ask Watson to IM those back to you so that I can have those, guys. So we've got to somehow ring the alarm here. We have to somehow tell the people what's going on, because they have no idea. The way most of the TV news is framing it is, ooh, Obama getting tough on the banks. Man, he's started a civil investigation of Goldman Sachs, which is as rigged as, the worst used car sales lot or some carnival game. They're saying, ooh, Obama getting tough. Ooh, he's got a bill, Senator Dodd, that's going to really get the bankers, and there won't be any more bailouts. Yeah, because you won't have bailout money that is really tax money going to the banks. They'll just directly get the money now. I mean, this is completely and totally over the top, but they're using people's ignorance and lack of knowledge of how the international financial system works to do this. And so Paul Watson's got a key article breaking all this down at prisonplanet.com right now. Steve Watson is doing another story that's going to be out in the next few hours on this front. And we're also going to get into a new article up on prisonplanet.com that just went up minutes ago. ADL calls for major law enforcement operation to deal with Obamacare critics. Yes. Attack group mixes in completely non-violent internet postings with death threats in new purge against internet dissent. All of this online with internet censorship that cybersecurity is setting up. So we'll cover that as well coming up the next hour. I do want to take some calls first. And so what we'll do is we'll come back. We will go to your phone calls. We have a full board of calls. I said wide open phones, but after this board is gone, any new callers, it'll be first-time callers today. 1-800-259-9231. 1-800-259-9231, and we'll get you up and on the air. And coming up, creating list of political dissidents. Good enough for the Nazis, good enough for the Southern Poverty Law Center. Another excellent article by Steve Watson up on prisonplanet.com. And, of course, yours truly listed prominently in the hit list. I'm number 13, lucky 13. I'm also, the news is reported, on the internal White House hit list. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice? I'm just here saying, look, Goldman Sachs and others are robbing us. They're setting up a global tax system where we pay taxes to them. I mean, I was reading what the CFR was saying years ago, how once they imploded the economy, they'd bring in a VAT tax, a carbon tax, a financial VAT, a Tobin tax, but a Tobin tax paid to the bankers. You have to understand, select groups of elite banks can selectively, this is in the London Guardian, by the way, but they say how great it is, go after their competition and basically shut it down.